Hello there. You might remember a couple of weeks ago I sent you an email letting you know that Atlantic Link, who provide our e-learning authoring software, had been bought out by Kaplan IT, and I invited you to come along to a customer familiarisation day which took place earlier today. Unfortunately you weren't able to attend, but what I thought I would do was send you a very short video vodcast, which I'm doing now, to give you some idea as to what the purpose of the day was and the outcomes of it. Atlantic Link were bought out a couple of months ago by Kaplan IT. The real positives for us is the fact that all three Atlantic Link products, Content Point, Capture Point and Knowledge Point, are staying within Kaplan IT's learning portfolio. And the really positive move is that as Kaplan IT is a massive global organisation, they're able to throw a great deal of time, resources and most importantly of all money at the three Atlantic products that we've got to really revitalise them, re-energise them and give us, the users, a much greater value for money. So what I'd like to do over the next couple of minutes, no longer than that, is just give you an update on each of these products and how they've been updated and what that actually means to us as the end user. The first piece of software that's been updated or is being updated is Capture Point. And if you remember, Capture Point is the software that we've got that enables us to take screenshots and capture what's going on the screen, capture all the interactions that are going on in the screen, and then be able to bring that into Content Point and actually either be able to show the learner a certain route through an IT process, enable the learner to have a go themselves and to be able to find their own way in a safe environment through the IT process, or indeed even test the learner on their ability to follow a certain process in a certain order. These updates that have been included with the new Capture Point include the ability for the software to be able to recognise the type of button or the type of interaction that has been captured during the initial screen capture sequence. So instead of lots of little yellow boxes appearing throughout the process saying click here, click here, click here, it will actually identify that an execute box has been selected. So it will say click the execute box. It will identify that a drop down menu has been selected, so it will say click the drop down menu. So it's going to be far more intuitive for the learner, and it's also going to mean that us as authors don't have as much editing to do after that initial screen capture sequence. There's going to be some inbuilt imaging functions, so you'll be able to crop and edit any of the screen captures that you've actually done, so you could delete some data if it was perhaps sensitive and you didn't want that going out into an open domain. It will allow us to resize the windows at any point during the screen capture sequence, so rather than doing it at the very beginning and crossing your fingers and hoping that you've got it right, if you haven't got it right, you'll be able to resize the windows at any point. They've enabled a storyboard view, so instead of only seeing 2 or 3 captured screens at any one point, you'll be able to use it very much like a PowerPoint function and be able to see multiple slides all on the screen at the same time, therefore speeding up the production and the authoring process. And they've also allowed a click and zoom functionality, so you can actually zoom in on certain aspects of the screens that you've captured to really concentrate the learners in a particular portion of that screen. So those are the updates for the Atlantic Link Capture Point. We don't use it a great deal on site at the moment, but I'm confident that when we do get to that point, this software has now moved on. It's a second generation software, and it will hopefully give us a much better experience when we come to use it. The second and probably most important piece of software that we use from the Atlantic Link authoring range is Content Point, and that's the piece of software that we've all used, a number of us quite a few times, to produce the e-learning content that we now use within our business. There's not as many changes with this piece of software, but I think the changes that have been made are things that we've been looking for. I know I've certainly been looking for, and a few of you have, so hopefully they will put the tick in the box for you. First of all, they've improved the PowerPoint converter. We've always been able to import PowerPoint slides into Content Point, which is great. However, any transitions or any advanced graphics that were in there, any advanced transitions, were always lost and had to be recreated from scratch if that was possible at all. The new version of Content Point not only allows PowerPoint slides to be imported, but it also retains all of the slide transition and animations that were on that screen. So that's a really positive move. Secondly, they have created an inbuilt image editor. So if there are any images that you've imported in from Google or from elsewhere within the business, you had to edit them first, you had to crop them, resize them, reshape them, so on and so forth, before you could put them into Content Point. What you can now do is bring them straight into Content Point, and there will be an inbuilt image editor in there. So that should speed up the production time as well. And the final change that's been made within Content Point, which is I know something that many of you have been waiting for, they now have an inbuilt video editor within the software package itself. So we should be able to record video footage, bring it straight into Content Point, and from that point on do any editing, any cropping, any fade in, fades out, and also be able to convert it into a format that Content Point will play. So although there aren't that many changes to Content Point, I think you'll agree specifically with the video option, this is going to be a really, really good move for the piece of software, and it'll be of real benefit to ourselves. Finally then, the final piece of software that's been adapted is Knowledge Point. And Knowledge Point is the very basic learning management system that all of our e-learning sits in. There have been some modifications to it. They were very sketchy as to what the modifications were, but generally it will improve the reporting process. So for you as authors, you won't see anything different, to be perfectly honest, but certainly for the learning and development team, we should have the ability to be a little bit more granular in our reporting. However, with the advent of the new SAP system, we won't be using Knowledge Point anyway, so there's a little bit of a short-term gain, but in the longer run, we probably won't see the benefit of that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this short video clip. I hope it didn't go on too long. Sorry that you couldn't be there earlier today, but hopefully, through this medium of technology, I've been able to pass on some of the updates to you. I'd really appreciate your feedback on this sort of method of communication, what you thought about it. Please don't comment on the video editing techniques or my bags under my eyes or the untidy garden that I've got in the background. But I'd really appreciate if you found this sort of vodcast, a video type podcast, to be of any benefit, and if you could see any other benefits within the business where we could use this, any other opportunities, then please let me know. Thank you.